Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the best hair, and welcome to week 4 of...
There's a man out there.
What?
Look, he's crawling on...
Which brings us to one of the holy trinity of Nicolas Cage action flicks, Con Air. Produced back-to-back with Face Off and arguably the original Summer of Nicolas Cage back in 1996, Con Air released in 1997 and is kind of what happens when you write a script based on a pun. Like, you know those Con Air hair products? Well, what if it was like convicts in the air? I know, I'm a genius. But it also is an example of what happens when you throw ass tons of money at the project, as the movie stars not only Nicolas Cage, but John Malkovich, Danny Trejo, Dave Chappelle, well, a lot of stars for a pretty simple plot. Nicolas Cage is a man who is getting out of prison to finally see his family, but oh darn it, he just so happens to wind up on the airplane with the worst cons in the country, and wouldn't you know it, they hijacked the thing! Now he has to do whatever he can to sabotage their plans, while keeping them from finding out about his ulterior motives. Which doesn't sound like it requires every star in the known universe, but nevertheless, let's take a look at Con Air and see if it can finally help me with these damn frizzies. And then, I don't know, watch the movie or something. The movie opens in war! That's because Nicolas Cage here plays Army Ranger Cameron Poe, finally coming home from service to see his wife, Trisha, played by Monica Potter. Not only that, she's already pregnant with their daughter! I have questions. However, some drunken ne'er-do-wells are being unrelenting assholes for no reason. And while Trisha diffuses the situation inside the bar, when they go to leave, the assholes return and attack! She rushes for help before she can return. The asshole pulls an asshole knife on Poe! And the body count rises. But oh, darn it, accomplice asshole takes the knife on his way out, and this body count is a real problem for them, after all.
With your military skills, you are a deadly weapon and are not subject to the same laws as other people that are provoked because you can respond with deadly force.
Bullshit. I mean, if he assaults someone and his hands are considered lethal weapons, he can be charged with assault with a deadly weapon for that, but if someone is assaulting him, at least when this movie was made, you are allowed to just shoot him, so yeah, killing them with deadlier hands than usual is just as good. But if we acknowledge that little issue, we won't have a movie, so screw you, Poe. Enjoy 7 to 10 years in a federal pound-me-in-the-ass prison, and enjoy it he does. Seriously, we get a little scene of him serving his time, and it's pretty chill. He keeps in touch with his wife, his dog, and even makes friends with Baby-O, played by McKelty Williamson, who you may recognize as Bubba from Forrest Gump. Anyway, a few minutes to us is the entire sentence for Poe, and then it's time to come home.
My daddy is coming home on July 14th. My birthday is July 14th.
Bastille Day is July 14th, French Independence Day. You'd like it, it's about a prison break. This is bittersweet, though. While Poe is getting out, his bestest friend in the whole wide world, Baby-O, is merely being transferred to another prison. Strangely enough, on the same flight that's transferring lots of prisoners to the most terrifying prison ever!
This place was designed to warehouse the worst of the worst.
Serial killers, cannibals, terrorists. Those people that go 20 miles per hour under the speed limit in the left lane! Which introduces us to our little rogues gallery for this story. William Bedford, played by Nick Chinland, Nathan Jones, played by Ving Rhames, and who could possibly forget, Cyrus, the Virus Grissom.
Cyrus is a poster child for the criminally insane.
Played by John Malkovich, who you may recognize as John Malkovich from the movie Being John Malkovich. Then there's the less intimidating prisoners like Dave Chappelle, who plays pinball, as in the character. This high-profile operation is being looked at by Agent Larkin, played by John Cusack, Agent Malloy, played by Cole Meany, and DEA Agent Sims, played by Joe Zuniga. Sims will be boarding the plane, undercover, posing as a prisoner.
You guys are late for the party. Okay. Go, sweetheart.
And despite the rules, he's taking a gun in secret. See, this plane has very specific rules. The guards aren't allowed to have guns. I mean, technically there's one gun in the cockpit, and there's a shitload of guns in the cargo hold, but the guards themselves, unarmed. Because I guess they just enjoy making bad plans.
My, as I look around, I see a lot of celebrities among us.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a surprising amount of star power on display, and this movie's not even done introducing all its characters yet. Such as Johnny 23 over here, played by Danny Trejo. He's, well, let's not get into that. Moving on, there's also Guard Bishop, played by Rachel Tickton, and as the plane takes off, several of the inmates begin to extract various implements of escape from their bodies, undoing handcuffs and lighting a man on fire, causing the guards to become disoriented. These guys have the security of the tutorial level on the escapists. And as the guards have few numbers and at best a taser or two between them, the criminals have no problem whatsoever in this. Even when the co-pilot takes the one and only gun to investigate, well, they just shoot him and take the gun, forcing the pilot to call back to base to tell them, false alarm, everything is A-OK.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Welcome to Con Air.
He said it! He said the thing! Obviously, a prison break isn't exactly what Poe wanted during his scheduled release, but while he's here, he can make himself useful. Johnny is getting a bit too aggressive with the one woman on board, and he's not gonna allow that.
Do you fly, Johnny?
No. You keep that in mind when you look at her, because if your dick jumps out of your pants, you jump out of this plane.
Which actually puts him in better graces with Cyrus the Virus over here, because while he has already established that he is a criminal mastermind with a body count the size of a grand orchestra, he still has standards. The goal right now is to just continue on to the next stop because Cyrus has a plan. But what's this? The DEA agent has that gun, and no fucking sense of strategy or basic survival instinct, screaming and flailing the firearm around until this happens. That DEA man just earned his second D. As Poe was interfering with the guy, Cyrus likes him even better. Nothing like distracting the good guys with half-assed negotiations to really make it easy to blow their brains out. Speaking of dead guys, though, the exchange they're scheduled for has a problem. 3 of the people meant to get off the plane are dead. And also, Baby O is gonna be dead soon enough, what with the fact that he's a diabetic and there's a whole insulin subplot.
I got my insulin all right, but they broke all the damn needles. And if I don't get my shot in the next couple of hours, somebody gonna be sending flowers to my mother. Which,
if you want to go to biomedical science here, means he's pretty much dead. They never do anything the entire movie that would actually save his life. But for the movie, it's that little thread that Poe has to hold on to drive his decisions. Baby O also can't volunteer as one of the new people getting off the plane because all of them were white. Not to worry, Poe can get off the plane, scream, and save him. Except they're gonna gag them all to make sure none of them do that.
Come on, man, move your head up.
I want to stay on.
What?
Which is a hell of a suspicious way to pipe up for that little request, but fortunately he's surrounded by criminals who aren't exactly known for making the best decisions. So they buy his story about having 15 years left to serve and just now realizing that maybe if he sticks with them, he can escape. As it stands, he just can't stand to leave now while Baby O and Bishop are sure to die without his help. Thus, the plane lands in Carson City during a handy-dandy sandstorm. The prisoners pose as guards long enough to make the exchange, introducing more ne'er-do-wells. Swamp Thing, played by MC Gainey, Francisco Cindino, played by Jesse Borrego, and Sally Can't Dance, played by Renole Santiago. Oh, and also, real fast, Agent Larkin is finding that secret plan Cyrus had in his cell, and Pinball is taking the transponder for a little trip, but there's one more ultra-dangerous criminal coming along for the ride.
What the fuck is that?
That's garlic green, man.
The Marietta Mangler, serial killer of children. So if this whole hijack thing goes tits up, we know which one of them is coming back as a supernatural slasher villain. While this is going on, Agent Larkin solves that little escape room puzzle that Cyrus put together and discovers he planned to hijack the airplane and land it at Carson City!
Oh, God. Stay here. Don't touch anything.
Why'd you tell him that? You know that means he's gonna. Hell, Cyrus was counting on that, as the first thing he does is open the box labeled "Do Not Open." Surprise! It's a bomb! So, planes are going up in flames, but what's this? It seems Poe planted the DEA agent's secret tape on one of the guards! Lots going on, I kinda missed that part. Much like Dave Chappelle missed that the police began swarming the airstrip, leading to the plane needing to take off immediately while he is vainly attempting to chase it down on foot. which doesn't work. Thus, they fly off to freedom! Free from the police chasing them and free from the transponder, now planted in some random tour plane. So while the agents jump between chasing the wrong target and blaming each other, Cyrus decides it's best to free the mass-murdering psychopath from his binds. Steve Buscemi! Who could have his own damn summer special with the roles he's gotten? Nevertheless, they're heading towards a Lerner airfield for another layover. Rendezvous. While the authorities believe them to be heading towards Arizona, but either way, it looks like his friend is going to die in this rust bucket while he's surrounded by maniacs. However, Agent Larkin has done some digging on Poe. That tape that tipped them off something was wrong means that they have a man on the inside, and Poe was a decorated war hero before the prison sentence that he just completed, meaning he must have stayed on the plane for heroic heroism. Agent Malloy doesn't care, though. The guy killed someone defending his wife, but fuck it, he's a menace, just like the rest of them.
The issue here is how the plane is brought down.
Shoot it down.
I mean, yeah, Poe's nice and all, and beyond that, there are still several prison guards that are unaccounted for who may still be alive, but... this movie's already creeping up on an hour. We gotta get to the climax sometime. Good cop thinks this is a terrible idea, but bad cop doesn't give a flying fuck. He's gonna kill everyone! Things aren't perfect on the plane either, as they aren't going quite as fast as they should because something's wrong with the landing gear. Thus, Diamond Dog is tasked with fixing it and calls Poe over to help because, after all, the man's the star of the movie and it'd be kind of weird for him to just sit in economy for the rest of the running time. It turns out, hey, Pinball did make it back to the plane! Ish. And Poe is tasked with dislodging him. But then... he seizes the opportunity to write the manager a strongly worded letter about the conditions on this plane. So, tossing him down, he crashes into traffic and people just start running the red light at the same time, causing a pile-up! But can't stop the movie for that now. We have to establish that not every prisoner trusts Poe's story about having 15 years left to serve. And also, Buscemi does as Buscemi does, waxing poetic about the psychological implications of his fellow passengers. Also, Agent Larkin has brought this whole Poe family to try and further investigate why such a stand-up guy would have had the chance to escape the situation and just stick around. But then he gets a call about the body falling out of the sky, and the note written on it. That the cons are going to Lerner, far, far away from the transponder's position. So he calls Agent Malloy at once.
We're right on his tail.
Just listen to me. It was to me. The note on the body was to me. You're chasing the...
Shut up.
Hello?
But you can't be the bad cop making bad decisions if you're not serious about seeing them through. So Larkin is on his own. Or is he? Stealing Malloy's car, he zooms towards the airfield, right when the prisoner from earlier finds proof that Poe lied about his sentence. Thus, they do battle in the belly of the airplane, far away from prying eyes, so when Poe kills him, the only one to notice is Steve Buscemi. That's cool. That gives him something to talk about.
One girl, I drove through 3 states wearing her head as a hat.
It's my daughter's birthday today. So please feel free not to share everything with me.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, what are you doing all the way over there, Zucker? It's a party. You should socialize more. But no one ever wants to hear about the body count. Anywho, Larkin makes it to Lerner Airfield, but oh darn it, the place has just been sabotaged and the air traffic controller killed. That means there's no one to coordinate the landings, and a tiny little plane is in its way of the big honkin' one that could just smash through it. Well, can't do that. That's dangerous. Just go faster, pull up, then be unable to stop as you smash through the airfield, blowing things up and smashing the front of the plane deep into the dirt. The point is, they survived.
Where's the plane, Francisco?
I don't know. Have patience.
I'd be a little bit more worried than that, considering this was a scheduled rendezvous that you were late for. The idea was that they'd hop on an entirely different plane and fly to sweet, sweet Mexican freedom! But as with most plans, that's not going quite as well as it could, such as Poe's plan to save Baby O's life. He desperately needs his insulin, so much so that Poe can't even move him. Anyway, for the time being, they just need to dig up the plane, so Poe volunteers to run off alone in search of a fuel truck. Of course, he's actually looking for insulin, and instead finds even more assholes that want him dead.
You fire that weapon, 20 pissed off prisoners are gonna hear it. Comprende, ese?
Well, if you really want to convince them this ain't a good idea, just bring up your plot armor. As he beats the crap out of them, easily taking the gun and finding Agent Larkin. Poe's not happy that the cavalry is still a few miles away, but at the very least the cons are a little delayed over the fact that their pal who planned the layover intended on simply leaving without them in this tiny-ass airplane.
If you can't trust a South American drug lord, who can you trust, huh? That was a joke.
Yeah, well, so's the title of the movie, but here we are. Anyway, Poe has to get back to the plane, and the army is almost here! So the turncoat tries to hop into his escape vehicle, surrounded by people not all that happy about it. So after the tail is ripped right off, he crashes into the gas station, which Cyrus blows the fuck up. So, new plan. Gotta get their old plane back up to snuff and get out of there. But lest we forget, the army is en route. So they set up a choke point and ambush them, blowing everything up. There's explosions, gunfire, tractors, and the body count rising. Even several of the cons are taken out in this scene. But wait! Poe is a man on a mission. A mission to get his best friend his insulin! Which is interrupted with Johnny taking advantage of the chaos to take advantage of Bishop.
Don't treat women like...
Allowing Poe to kick even more ass in the name of pure heroism. This also means he's on the plane with Baby-O, and looky here, he got the insulin in time. By movie medical rules, it gets a pass. But, oh darn it, wouldn't you know it, the rest of the guys were also retreating to the airplane just now, and it was barely put back into working order long enough for them to take off, evading the police yet again. That means he's still there, on board, surrounded by reprehensible assholes, with the nicest one among them the very talkative serial killer. But to make matters worse, Cyrus has figured out that their string of bad luck can only be explained if there was one amongst them who was tipping off the cops the whole damn time. Thus...
I will find out who is on my team and who is not. That would be 1, 2...
Wait, it was me!
Whoa, calm down there, Spartacus. You don't have to do this. Poe's got plot armor. He'll be fine. Unlike Baby-O, who is shot in the guts! Before this can go on for much longer, though, the chase continues! Malloy and Larkin are in attack helicopters, demanding the plane pull over. Larkin through diplomacy, and Malloy by just shooting them until they comply. Fortunately, Poe also beats his way through them all into the cockpit, where he can demand Swamp Thing bring the plane down. But wouldn't you know it, they lost a lot of fuel in that scuffle and can't make it to the airport. Gotta bring the plane down right on the Vegas Strip, smashing through traffic and causing ridiculous amounts of property damage. But hey, the important characters survived. Poe's alive, Bishop's alive, and even Baby-O's alive despite all logic and reasoning. And Cyrus, of course, just because we had a little mini war and a attack helicopter chase scene and fucking destroyed the Vegas Strip does not mean that the climax is over yet. So he hijacks a fire truck, and Poe and Larkin chase it on police motorcycles. There's shooting, and climbing, and fighting. Cyrus eventually is bested when he is thrown through a window, electrocuted in midair, and oh yeah, his head is smashed flat. Therefore, happy ending! Money is raining down from the sky, and even better, the Poe family can be a family again. Cameron meeting his daughter for the first time ever, and having a happy, crying hug. Everything is going to be all right.
Does the new shooter feel lucky? Well, does he?
Yes, he does.
Except for the fact that the world's most gruesome serial killer is back on the streets again. You would think Steve Buscemi would have a very recognizable face, but... Anyway, that was Con Air. That was ridiculous. In a good way, the story has its ins, outs, and complexities that make it worthwhile to pay attention to the various plot points being brought up throughout. But the main plot is relatively straightforward. Bad guys get a plane, good guys trying to stop them, save his friends, save innocent people, and not die. There are really two keys to Con Air's success as a film. One, there's a star power. You could have gotten just about anyone to play any of these roles, and none of them really screamed that they were made for the actors that got them, but the fact that we do have such a huge cast of prominent faces makes it that much more entertaining an experience. 2, the movie just keeps upping the ante. It starts off simple enough. We get a bar fight, then a relatively lax prison scene, then the well-planned but comparatively simple prison break, and from there things just keep getting more outlandish. The cons exchanging people at the next airport for the rest of the crew, brawls in the underbelly, crash landings, miniature wars, air chases with attack helicopters, and the goddamn Vegas climax. Like I said, things just kept upping the ante. And, well, I guess there's a 3 here. You gotta be willing to just have fun with it. Poe's method of going to jail was clear injustice, but just go with it. This is a terribly bad setup for moving high-risk criminals that would never fly, but just go with it. His friend at that point would have died anyway, insulin or no, but just go with it. At the end of the day, Con Air is a very entertaining film for fans of action and cheese. Not for bad acting, mind you, but just utter camp in the writing department. It's a classic example of what a movie can be when it doesn't give a damn about being anything but a big, expensive explosion because it's fun to do. Coming in at 3 skydiving cadavers out of 5. Very fun, but that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember, if your wife was 6 months pregnant before you came home from deployment, you might want to call Maury.
Listen, I need a syringe. Oh, no. Drugs will end you, son.
Lou, it's okay. Calm down. Everyone's gonna hear you whining and thinking that you're being tortured or something.